Thank you, Lori, and thank you, everyone, for joining us on our webinar. The idea of IT service ops, to be able to manage your operations, that has been, from our standpoint, the holy grail that IT ops wants to get to be able to correlate information, operational data, as it pertains to given services that you have defined or critical applications. A lot of you have the data today. It's just stuck or siloed in various tools. You don't have the visibility to that data. So when things do occur in your production environment, it becomes this mad, somewhat organized, disorganized set of chaos activities to uncover the data that you already have, to help troubleshoot, investigate, triage, and resolve those critical issues. So we're going to talk about a little bit of a recap why IT service ops and what is it and why it remains elusive for most organizations, and how to uncover some of that data or all of that data that you have today and make it easier, more accessible, more timely, more relevant. Those are some of the things we talked about in prior webinars, but how to uncover that data in actually a very easy set of three steps, three major steps to get you to uncover your data to do better IT service ops. And then we have partnered with a company, it's a startup company called PuzzleLogic. They have a new product that they're taking to market, and we think it's a very compelling solution. There's an intimate, just full disclosure, there's a strong ties between PuzzleLogic and Effectech. Effectech has been around for over 10 years. And the capabilities that this new product has, and we're willing to and want to show this to you today. So why IT service ops is not easy, as the title of this slide. IT ops, whether you call yourselves a DevOps organization or an app support team, we believe very strongly, and have seen this over and over again, that most IT organizations do not have the end-to-end visibility to pinpoint and resolve these production issues. The production issues can be around availability. You can have a full or partial outage. It could be around performance or slow response times, et cetera, et cetera. There are many reasons that impact your core delivery capabilities of your critical apps, your critical services. But we have actually bucketed them into four major reasons. Item one is the complexity of your application environment. And if you understand the application stack, and we actually have a slide around this application stack, you talk about the application and all of the components, both software and infrastructure, network, et cetera, components that make up that application, you know that it's very complex. They have to be patched, they have to be managed, kept up to date, the capacity has to be there, et cetera, et cetera. The application environment for these mission-critical business applications are very complex. Secondarily, it's also very interconnected. And these highly interconnected applications that connect your finance systems to your e-commerce systems, to your claims or your health insurance applications, you name it. Everything is connected to everything in these highly integrated, very well orchestrated environments. And when something goes wrong, it's hard to trace through where that issue started and what are the impacts of that issue that starts kind of spiderwebbing out from that core issue. And there are tools certainly that do application monitoring, application or transaction monitoring tools that help you, but it's just yet another data source, another tool to try to piece together what's happening and how things are connected. Often we find that the third point is there's a very few people in an organization that really understand the application and how they are connected. Only a very few set of people do that. And as companies start seeing these very senior people potentially retire or offshoring or right-shoring the technology, the skills, the core people that are very critical to an IT organization, the knowledge is somehow in a few set of resources. And because of that, and everybody has a very small view, a lens into the overall application stack, the overall infrastructure stack, it becomes this ongoing challenge to be able to disseminate this information out, to be able to quickly resolve issues as it goes through the process of Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 support. But always invariably, it comes back to a core set of individuals. And to be able to capture some of that information in a tool, in a product, and be able to tap into that is actually part of the goals for IT service operations, to make each team that makes up that service ops organization highly productive. And finally, in the ever-increasing world where we are moving towards a DevOps world where things are going very virtual or very cloud-based, the idea of where we're doing this is to create IT, allow IT to be more agile. And as IT becomes more agile, business will demand a greater amount of change. As things change, as changes occur, you stand up new infrastructure, push it to the cloud, the impact of changes start becoming harder and harder to measure. As things start, change happens, the legacy applications get repurposed to new platforms. As people push to Amazon or Microsoft Cloud solutions, they interconnect those to legacy on-premise applications. The impact of these changes become very, very hard to manage. So people are revisiting this issue around DevOps and release management and code deployments and change control and configuration management. All these things have a play in that, but it's becoming very, very difficult as change increases, and people have to go to these various tools to kind of pinpoint or identify what components are changing. The impacts of these changes are becoming harder and harder to measure. So those four concepts, those four critical areas of why we believe IT ops isn't easy. So first, it has to start with the application stack. Whether it's a legacy physical hosted environment or a virtual or a cloud environment, the fundamentals of an application stack is very consistent. Here you see that there are two major elements we highlighted in orange or gold and then in blue, where you get the software components, if you will, down to the OS layer, and the infrastructure components of the classic hardware components are in blue, the virtualization of those servers, the servers themselves, storage and networking. All those layers, if you will, comprise the application stack. All those layers have their own technologies, as you know. They have their own languages, they have their own operating systems, they have their own databases, they have their own hardware vendors or VMware virtualized vendors, etc. But with that concept of putting all that together to deliver an IT application or an IT service to the business, we impose a set of support teams, as you will, to efficiently operate each layer of the application stack. In the vision of IT service operations, these teams, if you will, these service ops teams, are highly integrated, highly organized, high communication between them, and as information comes out from an operations standpoint, comes out of the application stack or the various components, all that gets fed into and being reviewed and analyzed by your service ops teams, and we deliver a very good service ops capabilities to the business, and that's the vision, of course. Reality doesn't match the vision or the desire, and what happens is, the crude example of what happens when all this data comes out of your application stack and touches individual compartmental teams. So that highly integrated, highly orchestrated set of teams become very disjointed in this world, where application events at the top layer get sent to the application team, OS level events get sent to your systems administration teams, database events or messages get sent to your database teams, et cetera, et cetera. And they quickly becomes this siloed organization because every layer of the stack, as you see, can get monitored. Every layer of the stack may generate alerts. Every layer of the stack may or may not impact the delivery of your service or your application to your users. But so all this noise and activity happens, and it becomes what we consider lost. The data that's being generated out of your systems, out of your existing ops tools today, most people don't see. Only the targeted things that get sent to the targeted teams through very well-defined and somewhat rigid assignment rules. The teams aren't able to easily share this information, and you having the visibility of what the app team is doing or what the storage team is doing or what the web teams are doing or dealing with around this service that you're delivering, you do not have that full end-to-end visibility, and that's part of the challenge. And then you start dovetailing on the more complex issues. And what you see here are these red occurrences that happen that it first comes in as an app issue, but it really is a network issue. Or it comes in as a server-related issue, but really it's due to an application change you did 2 nights ago. And the server now have high utilization, so that people wonder, what's wrong with the server? Well, it's the new app change that you put on top of those servers that are consuming too much memory, or there's a memory leak. All those things are real-life examples that people, IT ops teams, have to deal with, are dealing with every day, and it becomes this very interesting spider web of interactions that happen every day, and we go into this, what we call this triage mode or the SWAT call mode, And everybody in this picture starts getting on a call to understand why is this application outage occurring. And the reason why they're doing that is because IT teams are operating in these technology silos and they're using non-integrated tools. So with that, we want to share with you how to turn this vision into reality. And we view actually there's three very straightforward, easy steps you can undertake. So one of them is creating that application stack, if you will. And that is what we call in the create and links phase. We need to identify the application, all the critical components, infrastructure, servers, etc., that make up the application. And in our vantage point, most of that information is well known today. It may or may not be in a centralized CMDB. It probably is in a lot of CMDBs. If you're like most IT organizations, you probably have a half a dozen CMDBs, formal or informal asset repositories sitting around your organization in spreadsheets or in databases, a MySQL database, etc. You may have that. People are managing that today, but it's again siloed in that particular group. But the idea is to service that information, create and link that information so that it's shareable. And to do that, again, using your current CMDB of choice or potentially using a product that the PuzzleLogic product we're about to show you. And then taking that and having that existing ops data, integrating those different sources, if you will, every tool that is being used to monitor a different element of that application stack that we've looked at is generating information. It's generating valuable information once it can be correlated. So that ability to integrate and correlate that information so you can easily identify which things are impacting your application components. That's step two. And the integration, actually, people are a little bit concerned if it's very difficult to do. It's actually very straightforward in these modern new applications or software applications. And it is very easy to do in PuzzleLogic, by the way. And finally, once you do those first steps, to be able to do that and manage and operate, use the information that's available, you will find yourself in a much better place where all of your integrated service ops teams will be able to share information, look at the same information. So those are the 3 easy steps to turn in reality. So what we're about to do is turn this over to Marie. Marie is going to give you a demonstration of PuzzleLogic Service Advisor. And we hope, without being too sales-oriented, this is meant to educate you. And yes, it's meant to educate you of new capabilities that are out there. These tools, the technologies have greatly advanced, in our opinion, over the last 3 to 4 years. And with this, you will have new capabilities to be able to manage your environment and turn your organization into a true service ops set of teams.
So thanks for that introduction, Rick. I am here today to show you this product Service Advisor from PuzzleLogic, and hopefully as we go through this demonstration you'll see how we are helping you find some of this operations data never seen before to help your application support teams find and fix issues faster. So here when we log into our Service Advisor platform, we see it's an application-centric solution, basically aggregating data from existing tools into this one unified IT operations workspace. It's looking at that end-to-end view of the application, as Rick pointed out, basically the entire stack of your application from the service right down to the hardware needed to run your app. So here on the home dashboard we see a typical set of enterprise applications that your company, your apps teams may support. You'll see at a glance applications that have active alerts. These are ones that are flagged with this red icon around them. And so I can easily on this page just go through and just say, just show me those applications that I'm having issues with. So just show me the alerted applications. This is kind of that sea of red that a lot of app support teams are used to seeing. It's like a lot of issues are going on with my apps. So as an app support person, of course, I don't need to be, I'm not responsible for all of these applications, but so I can go through and I can just flag ones that are specific to me. Just these are ones that me and my team are supporting, so I get a smaller subset of apps here. And once again here I can narrow this down to just those that have alerts on them. So right now we're going to walk through like a sample service to show you how Service Advisor can show you some of this data that you don't have visibility into to help you investigate, diagnose, and resolve issues quicker. So by selecting an application, and I'm going to walk through just a sample service, which is going to be just, this could be typical of any application within your company. Once I step into the application, I get my application summary panel where I get summary information on my application. I get some key stats that are user-defined, and I get this set of important messages. So this is where I'm seeing things that I have flagged as important to me that are happening on my application. I see it in this one single panel here. So next we're going to step into what we call our connections panel, and this is where Service Advisor is leveraging your service model to display this application-centric view of what is connected to what in your application in an easy-to-view and navigate tree. So here I see my sample service is comprised of application servers, database servers, integration servers, mid-tier servers, and web services servers. So hopefully this model will resonate with a lot of you as a typical enterprise application. You could model out your app in terms of the same sort of structure. So here I get to view very quickly kind of what is happening in all areas of my app. So even though my app has been flagged as red, I can see that not all parts of my app are red. I'm just having issues with my integration servers and my web services servers. So with very few clicks, I've got to this page straight away, and I'm able to very quickly see where those red items are, where the parts of my app that are having trouble are. As I look at this, I see I'm having issues with my integration servers, and if I drill down further here, I see, wow, I've got 3 integration servers, but actually only one of them is having issues. The other 2 are operating normally. So I can do a quick sanity check here, seeing that I've got 3 servers. I know I'm doing load balancing on my servers, so having one of them having issues is not detrimental to my app support, to my app team right now. I know that the other ones will pick up those other requests. And I can see here quickly, I can just select on that item to see what is that issue that's going on. So again, I can get a quick look. I see it's related to my file server is full. As I said, this is not a critical thing, so I know I don't need to drop everything and go off and fix this issue right away, right here. So again, quickly getting visibility into, like, when this is red, is this something that I have to take care of straight away, or is this something that I can wait and come back to later on? So another thing I see on this panel here is I get visibility into upstream and downstream relationships to other services or applications that may impact my application. So by selecting this icon here, this little traverse icon, it's what we call a traverse icon or a traverse point. So this shows me that my sample service has a dependency on the authentication service application. So issues that could be happening on this dependent application could impact my users. When, for instance, when users report issues like they can't access my application, it could be that they're having issues with authentication service. So in today's environment, like a lot of these teams, as we know, are working in these different silos, so that me as the sample service support or app support team, I don't get visibility into what's going on in authentication service. So this way, I'm able to get visibility into some of these other parts of, some of these other components that, as I said, may be impacting me. And so now, as we look further through this, we're going to drill in a little bit further to just show you how you can start seeing. I see now at a very big picture visual level kind of where some of these key issues are happening in my app. But now I'm going to drill in a little bit further, and I'm going to get into more of the detail as to exactly what is going on, and show you how with Service Advisor that by seeing the data that's happening and by seeing things that happened before, we can help you. We can help you see what's happening and prevent issues from being flagged or raised at your help desk. So right now, again, like with my integration servers, I see here at my web services servers, I just have issues that are happening on this one particular host below. So when I select to update my panel below here, so I'm going to go through here and I'm just going to select this one particular host 27, where I see that I do have a high incident that has been raised to me. This is something I have flagged has been important to me. So in this panel below here, as I said, I'm just seeing issues that are happening on this particular host. And this is where Service Advisor, what it does is it's consolidating data from multiple different data sources, and it's showing you that data here on this one screen. So I see on my host 27, not only did I have a high incident that was flagged on it, but I also am getting data from these different data tools that we've integrated with. So I'm getting events from BPPM, from Tivoli. These other events are coming from different tools, and they may help me try to figure out what is going on or what has triggered this high incident that got opened. So for instance, down here, I start seeing that I did have an incident that was opened earlier. It was a medium incident. It was telling me that I was having a critical heap space issue here with my particular server. And this, again, is indicative of that I could be having some sort of memory issues with this server. I'm running out of memory. And then, lo and behold, a couple of, like, 20 minutes later, half an hour later, I'm getting this high issue that my app server has been disconnected. So by seeing this information ahead of time and by seeing that I've got this critical heap space issue, this indicator, it can trigger to me that I'm having problems that I would be able to go through and fix before the incident gets opened. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how by getting all this data, as we're seeing, we're getting this data, we're consolidating this data, but now as an app support user, as a user of Service Advisor, I can go through now and I can create some particular rules myself that are going to flag some of these issues that are coming into me. Flag them as being important to me so I can proactively get notified before the actual incidents will get opened at my help desk. So I'll quickly show you how I can go through and do that.
Before you do that, Marie, I just wanted to recap what to the users, the attendees, what we just displayed and how that ties into the content or the presentation. We talked about 3 steps to be able to uncover the data that you already have and be able to make it more useful for you from a service ops perspective. So one thing we said is we have to identify and connect your components, and that's what you see in the connections panel. And we'll show you in a second how easy it is, to create that. So after you created it, we talked about integrating your existing data sources, your existing tools into this framework, into this platform. And you see here that this product is able to ingest or take in a lot of different data from a lot of different sources. And you see that having that aggregated view, whether it's an application monitoring tool or a database monitoring tool or a log aggregation tool, you name it, PuzzleLogic has the ability to aggregate all that information and put context around it. It correlates that information to your different components in your application, so you're able to now see that. And we've been told in prior demonstrations that, Rick, I don't see that. That data that you're showing me now, that gets sent off to the web team. I'm an app guy, and I don't see that. Or that particular file system full goes after to my systems admin team, and they're clearing that file system. Those things are completely invisible to me. But with that, you now have the ability to share that information and put context around it, and in a very few clicks, be able to see, in that sea of red, I have a lot of app issues going on. You can see more context. It's pertaining to my integration servers or my web services. It affects one or multiple hosts. And you can then put that human intelligence around that information to be able to say, hey, this is more important, so let me go ahead and investigate that and maybe take corrective action. Or, as what Marie's going to show you, I want an early warning sign when that happens again. That's causing us outages in the past. Those critical heap free issues are causing us, or have caused us a couple outages in the last 6 to 9 months. So let me can this product help me create an early warning system for me to surface that information. It should be dealt with by the web teams, but they're not being, they need to act more quickly. Give me an early warning sign that if it happens, I can chat or get on the phone with my web admin to be able to restart that JVM, for example. So that's kind of the scenario we're going through with you in this demonstration. So Marie, sorry to interrupt, go ahead.
No, thank you, Rick. So yeah, as we said, having issues like this critical heap space issue here, we're going to show you how I can create that rule that will basically flag me or warn me when this sort of stuff happens so that I don't wait until that high incident gets opened at my help desk. So in order to create these rules, users can define important message rules basically based on what's important to them, because of course for every application support team you may want to be looking at or monitoring different things and different rules. So in terms of creating a rule, the criteria, I can base it based off the priority of the messages that are coming into me, the data source where I'm getting this data from, the status, the type of message that's coming in, or I can just simply enter free text, free format text below here. So right now I'm going to say I just want to see any open messages that are coming. I don't really care where they're coming from that have this critical heap free in the text of the body, in the message body. So I can activate this rule here. And now when I go back to my connections panel, what I'm going to see is, well, I'm seeing a couple of things here, but one, I see that I now have 2 hosts that are flagged as red. But let me first look at the messages that were coming in from my host 27, which was this first one we looked at. And one thing I'm going to do now, because I think I've just ended up, this is all based on a time-based sequence as well for what we're looking at below. And based on the time of the data, my critical heap space one had just timed out based on the time that we're at here. This came in at 11:25, we're now at 1:30. So by extending that duration, I see here that my critical heap space, which was a medium ticket, is now flagged as red. So this again allows you to configure these rules. You don't have to change the priority of your incidents that are coming into the help desk to notify you for some of these things that are happening. But I've said I wanted to be notified whenever anything with critical heap free comes in. So I now see my host 27 would have had this warning. I would have got the warning at 11:25. I could have gone through and I could have taken corrective action on this particular host and prevented this incident being opened at my help desk. The other interesting thing that I see now is that by configuring that additional rule, I see I also have another host here that's been flagged red. So let me just go through. I'm going to select all of my web services servers. So right now, this is going to give me a list below of any messages, incidents, events, etc. that are happening on any of my different web services servers. So as I go through, I see 27 is the one that we were looking at, but I also see that right now, not that long ago, I've had another critical heap free issue happening on my host 25. So that this memory issue that I'm seeing, it seems to be pretty prevalent on my web services servers. So again, this is going to show me that this is something that I really should go through and take more action to figure out what is going on and to take that corrective action before I start getting more issues opened before I start getting more high incidents opened and before my application may stop functioning as my users need it to. Hopefully this shows you how easy it was basically to go through and to create a new rule, and that how by creating that rule, Service Advisor now will proactively flag those issues as they come in, and as an app support person that I can go through and take that corrective action, be more proactive, and prevent those critical incidents being opened at the help desk. So at this stage, I'd like to see if there's any questions about what we've shown you so far, and if not, we will walk through a little bit more detail about how you can actually build out a service model like this. If you don't have a mature CMDB, how Service Advisor will let you build out a sample service. So is there any questions first off?
This is Lori, and I do have a question from Dan, specifically looking about integrating to various CMDBs or asset management systems. Rick, is that something?
Yes. So out of the box, this product integrates to the largest CMDBs out there. One is the ServiceNow and one is Remedy. So it does have out-of-the-box integrations that it will be able to synchronize this product with the CIs or the service models you've built out within those two products. And the integration is very scalable. So if you do not have ServiceNow or the Remedy, we'll be able to leverage this integration as more of a customer-specific integration to be able to integrate to your asset repository or your ARIS system, your application portfolio system, what have you. We would be absolutely able to do it. If it's sitting in a SQL database, we can synchronize that data into this product.
From Craig, we don't use ServiceNow. How much effort would it be to integrate to Footprints?
Footprints, yeah, it's another common ITSM solution out there, and we estimate that will be a customer-specific integration leveraging what we've already pre-built. It usually takes around 2 to 3 weeks to do the integration based on your implementation, your customizations you may have. It probably takes about 2 to 3 weeks to do that. So that's a pretty safe quote and a pretty conservative quote to give you a rough order magnitude.
Great. We have no additional questions right now.
Okay, thanks, Lori. So the next step is, okay, well, you showed us a nice canned demo, Rick. So one of the things we want to see is how hard or how easy it is to build out our applications in your product. And what we wanted to do is show you a sample sales service. This is a common use case where if you're, especially in the consumer or retail space, you have a point of sale system, and especially if you're brick and mortar, you'll have, or your Starbucks, and you have thousands of stores across the globe, you'll have a point of sale system at every store. So this is geared towards that particular use case. And we've created two very simple aspects of sales. One is your point of sale system. So as you can see here on the left, it's modeled based on a brick and mortar store scenario where the customer has, this particular sample customer has roughly 70 stores across the western United States. the store information, the collection of the data, what's being sold through the point-of-sale systems, that is being sent off on a periodic basis to what we call the PS integration servers, and that's sitting in the Amazon cloud. And that Amazon cloud is basically also hosting our Hadoop large sales analytics database. It's a Hadoop cluster, and we've implemented a third-party data analytics reporting tool called Tableau on top of the Hadoop cluster to be able to run a lot of sales analytic reports. So this is a very common use case. These are common technologies and solutions people have deployed out there. So what we want to do is show you how quickly it is to not only create and link these objects, these things in PuzzleLogic, but then to be able to send operational data that are being produced by your current tools. We'll simulate that and how quickly, app by app, you can stand up and begin seeing value within PuzzleLogic Service Advisor. So this is kind of the picture. And much like breaking, these cooking shows, we've actually have a lot of this stuff pre-built for you, but there are important steps that we want to share with you to give you a feel how easy it is to set this up. So with that, go ahead, Marie.
Okay, so we are going to, as Rick said, go back and build out that sample sales model. So once I go back here to my homepage, I did go through earlier on and I built a sample sales application, just a sales service here. And within that sales service, so let me first off go back to this homepage so that if I wanted to just add a sample sales service here, it's as easy as coming down here, adding an object, adding either an application object or a service object. Once I select to add it, I would fill in the fields for that particular object and the object would be created. So this is the step that I've taken ahead of time. So I've gone through and I've built out a sample sales application. And in it, I actually built two applications for my sales analytics and my point of sales. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look more at the area. Building the applications is just that simple step of building the app, but doing the inventory and populating that with all of your hosts is what we're going to walk you through right now. So one of the things we see from talking to a lot of support people will be that they do have a lot of this data in spreadsheets and they want to track specific attributes about each of their application components. And oftentimes the discovery tools don't discover all of the information that they want to track. So what we're going to do here is a sample of what an Excel spreadsheet may look like. This could be something you guys are familiar with. So this was based on the sample Rick was talking about, my point of sales hosts. I'm tracking a lot of different information here about them, their server names, their alias. And I have some information here, as you'll see, that discovery tools will not discover. They don't discover things like my store number. They will discover the IP address. They don't discover my region, etc. So what we're going to do is show you how Service Advisor will let you basically pull this information in and will let you pull any sort of custom information you want to track into the system. It's extremely flexible. So when I go through here, what I need to do at this stage is I go to my registry panel. On my registry panel, I see right now my point of sales application has no hosts tied to it. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to select to import from a CSV file. And the CSV file is that one that we've just looked at with all of those custom fields and all of those specific fields that I wanted to track about my point of sales hosts. So one thing I can do here is that I can just select this button here which said show data. So I start seeing these are the data fields that are coming from my CSV file. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to map them into fields in Service Advisor. So Service Advisor has defined some default fields that that it wants to track for specific hosts. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to map as many of those fields as possible. And the ones that I don't have, you'll see what happens as I go through. This is where, as I'm saying, if there's specific data that you want to track on your host and Service Advisor does not have a field that's equivalent to it, it will just import it in as a custom field. So you don't lose that data. So within Service Advisor, you're able to track any of that applicable data that you want to track. So for instance, I see I've got the store number in my file, but I don't have an equivalent field. So right now I'm not going to be able to map that, but as we do the import, you'll see how Service Advisor does not lose that data. So let me go through quickly here and just map out some of these fields that I know I've got values for. And okay, we've got a status field. A lot of this, I know I've got an operating system one. A lot of these other fields are very custom to what I wanted to track about my hosts. This one here is just other information. And then I see that I do need to go through and I need to define the source. Basically, this is telling me what data source, where these objects are coming from. So as Rick talked about earlier, we do have integrations with BMC, Atrium CMDB, and ServiceNow CMDB. But for now, I'm just creating these objects in my in Service Advisor as PuzzleLogic objects. So once I go through and do the import, what's happening now is that it's actually validating all those rows in the file against the fields that I have mapped them to make sure that everything maps correctly. So I see now with the detail that I've gone through, I've imported these. So right now I see that I now have all of these hosts that are tied to my point of sales application. By selecting any of them, I can see that all of these fields have been mapped in. So the fields that I mapped across are mapped to Service Advisor fields, and below here I start seeing all of these custom fields. So as I said before, it allows you to track any of that data that you want to about your hosts, any host-specific data that's important to you. And once it's in Service Advisor, I'm able to go through, I'm able to do sorts and searches on that data at a later stage. So now that I've built my point of sales application, or my point of sales app, and I've tied hosts to it, I'm going to go back into my sales application. And now when I go to my connections panel here, I see that I've got my sales app, had my point of sales and sales analytical applications underneath it, and underneath each of these are all of the hosts that I have tied to these specific applications. So it shows you how quick and easy it is to build out a model like what we talked about. And the next step I'm going to do here is that once I've built out my application, next thing I want to do is I want to try and get that data. I want to get operational data that ties to some of these hosts that I have just built. So Service Advisor provides a straightforward command line API to allow you to send this operational data from any of your tools, your systems monitoring tools, your database monitoring, application monitoring tools. And so now that I have ran a script to import some data here into my system, so I start seeing that this data is coming in and it is being tied to these hosts that I have defined. So once I go through, I start seeing I'm still running my script here. So as you see, more data is getting injected as I go through. And right now I see this one came in and it got flagged as red. So earlier on in the demo, you saw I created this simple rule, basically looking for this critical heaps in any of the messages that came in. So I see that I got a message in that was flagged red. So now when I go to my connections panel for my sales application, very quickly I'm able to see where I'm having the issue that I flagged as important to me. Where is that happening within the realm of my sales app? The sales app, some parts of it, the sales analytics, and all of its apps or all of its hosts are running as expected. But when I open my point of sales application, I can very quickly see which host within all of those POS hosts is having the issue. By selecting that host and clicking the update below here in my messages panel, I see this message that I had flagged as being important. So this again it shows you how easy it is for you to see where in your application with very minimal effort I'm able to get to the particular host that I'm having issues with. I get a very quick view of kind of what's happening around my application, where any sort of issues may be happening, and I'm getting visibility into this data that in today's tools and with today's tools, users don't have that visibility to be able to basically identify some of the areas where their application is having issues and do faster investigation, diagnosis, and resolution of problems and incidents. So any questions on this portion of the demo on how easy it is to configure and build out an application within Service Advisor and tie that data to it?
Okay, I can hear you fine. Lori, is there any questions on chat?
No, not right now.
So at this stage, Rick, I'm going to this is concluding my demo portion of Service Advisor, so I'm going to pass the presenter back over to you to finish off the session.
Okay. Before I take the ball back, I just want to make just one more summary comment about service ops. How do service ops, in our opinion, intersects IT operations with the business, right? And this provides you context and visibility to things that are happening really very, very low level in the weeds set of issues. So what Marie just demonstrated is there are some things happening around the point of sales or around servers, right? And she very quickly were able to say that you had a particular problem in your point of sales application, and she could even drill down to which store is impacted. So that is the benefit of PuzzleLogic Service Advisor, Service Ops, and this tool, Service Advisor, has for your organization. It understands and basically provides that glue to get the IT operations data and understand the business impact of your application, your critical application areas down to the store level. You are very easily able to see that with this product. And that is certainly, from our perspective, working with many customers, our goals are clear goals, the business impact of operations for service operations. So that's what we hope we demonstrated to you all. And let me go back. I have one or two more slides, so I'm going to take the ball back. So with that, we hope that you enjoyed the presentation, and we went through this sample sales model. And here are the 4 major points we want to leave you with. One is gaining visibility to application issues using the connections view that Marie showed you, and how easy it is to surface information and understand the context of those events and messages that are occurring, to be able to quickly see, hey, I have problems with my integration servers, and one of the servers is having issues. For example, easy, in a few clicks, you can actually see that and gain visibility to your application and the issues that are impacting your app. The ability to traverse. She showed you the link to be able to traverse over to what she showed you, the authentication service, but traverse across what we consider operational noise and the sea of red when all these applications are highly interconnected. But you, as an application owner, care about specific upstream or downstream applications that impact you, able to traverse over to that area very quickly, very easily. Is anything over there impacting me? Is anything happening in the authentication area where users are prevented from logging into my application? That's the use case that we're talking about, and how you can traverse across your infrastructure very easily using Service Advisor. And we also talked about how you get proactive by creating these message rules. Marie created a very simple critical heap space message rule, so that when those start happening, invariably they lead, if it happens enough, it will lead to an application, a partial outage at a minimum. So how can we get more proactive and be able to create these rules, signify and create these quote-unquote red alerts when these medium priority events or tickets coming into my organization, my team? How can I get ahead of that, Rick? The important message rules, what Marie demonstrated, allows you to start to do that, to flag those as red, be able to take corrective action very quickly. Maybe you need to restart that server now before another server goes out, etc., or the load capacity is becoming impaired. You can easily do that with these important message rules. And hopefully we showed you in the last point how to deploy Service Advisor with a great amount of agility, to be able, app by app, build out all of your critical applications within Service Advisor, connect them through these traverse points, and you integrate your existing ops data into this product, and you should hopefully see in a very agile way, you can deploy this application and get immediate benefits very quickly, in a very immediate way, app by app. So those are the things we hope you shared with you. And certainly some of our early metrics that we're expecting and starting to see is reduction of mean time to repair, reduction in the amount of time and effort that your support headcount needs to be deployed to maintain your application. Some of you have very large applications. And the increase in efficiency. A lot of people wear a lot of hats within IT. They do app support as well as some level of app testing to deploy new capacity. To be able to redeploy a lot of the core, keep the lights on activities and time and effort, and deploy that to higher value IT work. This increase in op efficiency, we see that there's a significant benefit for your organization. So with that, we hope you enjoyed what you saw. We hope that if you have any questions, you contact this email at solutionsteam@effecttech.com. We'd be happy to continue to share with you the information about service operations, about this product, how we can help you build out and mature your IT ops organizations and deliver on your vision of IT service ops. So with that, Marie, thank you for the demo, and Lori, it's back to you.
All right, thank you again for joining us for Find Ops Data, never seen before, for faster fixes. And as Rick said, if you have any additional questions, you can reach us at solutionsteam@effecttech.com. Thank you so much. I will send out an email. You'll have the link to the replay and how